Hi, I'm Maxi, and this is my first ever YouTube video. I've been wrenching on cars for years now, since I had my first car, and now I bought my first bike, and it's a 1980 Honda CB125T. Now it's my first time wrenching on a bike, and I wanted to take you along, and thought to myself, hey, why not film all of this? Yeah, I bought this car at the end of last year from a friend who had it in storage for 4 years, never really rode it. He bought it from a collector who also seldomly rode it, so it has quite low mileage. It's at 47,000 kilometers right now, but it has been taken really good care of, and almost all of the necessary service items have been done. I also already did some service items to it, like got new Metzler wheels because they were more than 10 years old when I got it. I changed the oil, I serviced the valve gaps, and yeah, just checked everything over. Tightened the chain, which is luckily still like new, like the whole chain drive, and I had to put restrictors in because of restrictions on my current license, driver's license. Yeah, and as you can see, I already put new grips on it because the old ones were flaking off. The rubber was super old and cracked. And as you can see, I also put bar end mirrors on it because I didn't like the big chrome ones that came on the handlebar. Yeah, I might want to keep the original color, I'm not sure yet. But I want to do some modifications to it. And I want to take you along for the ride. No pun intended. Well, I want to change the turn signals because I don't like these old school really big ones. This bike still has a 6-volt electrical system, and it's quite weak for these normal bulb lights, and I find them obnoxiously big, so I want to remove them, replace them with LEDs. I want to keep the original headlight, not sure yet if I want to lower it a bit so it's in one line with the tank. Maybe change the handlebars. I like the original ones, and I'm quite a tall guy, so it's for me a lot more comfortable when they're up like this and not these clip-on handlebars or club-on handlebars, but I'm not sure about this yet. And yeah, I adjusted the springs to my weight, the pre-tension, and yeah, it has some wear to it. Some dings here and there, some scratches, but overall it's in great condition. And yeah, so my plans for this bike, I want to turn it into a cafe racer, scrambler, bread style kind of bike because I really like this style of bikes, and I think they look really cool. Today I want to show you how to change the rubber piece on the Kickstarter because it's already pretty worn down, and because of that it slides from side to side when you try to step on it to start it. And I also want to show you how to clean the idle jet in the carburetors. I have really not much experience working with carburetors. All of my cars so far had just normal injection. So when I got the bike, it wasn't running at all, despite the previous owner telling me that it was running when he put it into storage, but it hadn't been driven for more than 4 years, so yeah, I suspected that there would be some problems with it. The previous owner actually drained the tank before he put it in storage, so that was nice, but they didn't drain the float bolts, and well, there was still some gas left in there, and it crystallized around the jets and totally clog them up, so it wouldn't start. So I actually took them apart, cleaned them, but on this type of engine, these KN carburetors actually have pressed in idle jets, so I couldn't take the idle jets out. I only cleaned the main jet, the floats, everything else, the idle screw, but I couldn't clean the idle jets properly. So I only blasted them with brake cleaner and with intake cleaner, but obviously it didn't really work, because now when I try to start it, it does only start with full choke and some gas, and it has really rough idle. I tried to balance the carbs, it didn't really work. So they are balanced now, but when they drop to idle, it's really rumbly. It sometimes just dies. So, well, I guess we have to clean the idle jets now. First of all, just take off this side cover that just clipped in, so you can get to them. And because I'm lazy, I would try to clean them without removing the actual carburetor. I would try to just remove the float bowl and then try to get to the idle jets like that when it's on the engine. The first thing you have to do is you have to drain the float bowls. So there's a little screw here on the bottom. You just need a flathead screwdriver and you can open it and it will drain out. So just put something underneath the end of the hose that comes from the carburetor and goes under the bike, and just open it and let it drain out. So as you can see, I put all of the hoses into this gas canister, and now you can just unscrew the screw on the bottom to let the carburetor drain. Yeah, I'm not sure if you can hear it on the camera, but you can hear it drain out into the canister. So what I'm going to show you now is how to remove the float bowl, but this is not the right way, this is a lazy way. I came up with it, I hope it works, because if it works it's not dumb. So yeah, there are 3 Phillips head screws, one here in the front, one in the back, and one in the back of the carburetor in the middle. I don't have a Phillips head screwdriver that's short enough to fit in between the crankcase and the float bowl, so I take a Phillips head bit, put it into a wrench. You can probably also use vice grips for that, and then just slowly loosen the bolt, the screws. So you just remove the screws far enough so that you can loosen them completely with the bit. Or I also just found a small screwdriver with a, I'm not completely sure what it's called, with one of these wiggly things, so you can actually turn it around the corner. That might also help. But I have almost all of them loose now. I will just unscrew the last one. Yours might actually be a little bit more stuck because, as I said, I loosened them before, just recently, when I completely took them apart. But now you can lower the bowl. Just be careful not to damage the seal or the floats. So now that that's off, you can put it to the side. We'll just let it dangle here. Maybe put some paper towel inside of it. And now we can get to the jet. So before I continue, I have to show you something. I got off of eBay just this package with different needles, and I hope it focuses, with different needles and spirals to clean the jets. They come in different sizes for the different jet sizes, but they're actually all way too big for the small idle jet that's in here. It's a 38 size jet, so it's 0.38 millimeter. So because I couldn't find the right size needle to clean the idle jet, because it's a 0.38 millimeter jet, and all of these needles are way bigger. So I went on the forums and just wanted to see if anyone else had the same problem. And I found one thread where one of the users said that he also had a problem with one of these carburetors with the pressed in idle jets. And he found that these guys, not sure if you can see them, should work great. Or he had the experience, or made the experience that they work great. And I'm not actually remember what they are called. They are very, very tiny barbed needles that are actually used by dentists to remove an infected nerve from a tooth. So they are stainless steel. These ones are stainless steel. They are really cheap knockoffs that are ordered from China. But you also can get them from legit dental shops that offer them in titanium alloys, something like that. They are really, really tiny barbed needles, and just search for endodontic, I don't know, nerve pulp extraction needle or something like that, or any gross variation that you can imagine. You know how Google works. Just Google around a bit and you will find them. They were about €5 shipped from China, and these are made from stainless steel, not any of the modern alloys, because I guess they are knockoffs. And they should actually fit in there. I took a micrometer screw and a caliper, and they are about 0.3 to 0.35 millimeters, so they should be big enough or small enough to fit it into the jet, and these little barbs at the end should pull out any dirt that's stuck in there. So this is not a tricky part, because I have to film it just by hand because the tripod is too tall. This is the float, this is the main jet, and this brass piece, that's the idle jet. So, well, the hole is at the bottom, of course, and now I'll try to get the little dental needle in there and try to extract any dirt that's inside. Okay, so I have my tiny needle. I can actually get in there, but I already feel that it's quite clogged. Well, I hope you can see that, but I actually bent the first one. Just be extra careful not to hurt yourself, and also try not to be too violent to the jets. These are extremely tiny, and if you enlarge them you could well, screw up your idle mixture, but I actually hope that these needles are a bit softer and more fragile than the actual jet. But now I actually can get in there quite far with the needle, so I hope that's the job done on this side. Yeah, seems like it. So now I will just clean up a bit, and then I will put it all back together and do the other side. So to put it all back together, you just look into your float bulb if it's clean. See if the rubber seal is still in one piece, not cracked and in place. And then slowly and carefully put it back in its position, and just put it back all of these little screws. Then you tighten them and you should be good to go. Actually, to put them back together, I will use this little screwdriver. I hope it works. Looks like it. Just be careful not to scratch too much of your paint, but my crankcase is is quite scratched anyway, so I don't care too much about it. Just screw them all back in, and you should be good to go for this side. Now you can check if all of these little split rings that are between the screw head and the actual metal are flat, because then you should be safe to ride around on it without them coming off again. It seems to be all good, so I will proceed to the other side. Okay, I'm also now done cleaning the idle jets on this carburetor. So the last thing to do is to adjust the idle mixture. You can see there's a small screw here on the front of the carburetor. According to the Honda service manual or repair manual, you should turn it all the way in and then turn it 1.5 turns out, and you should have the right idle mixture. Now just repeat the process on the other side too, and you should be ready to go. Okay, the last thing to do now is to see if it starts. Make sure to retighten the drain screws on the carburetors, so when you turn on the fuel it doesn't all just flow out. And yeah, turn on the fuel, turn on the key, try to start it. As you can see, the bike now starts right away after I gave it some time to let some fuel drain back into the carburetors. It still doesn't like to idle on its own. You have to give it some gas. So in the next video I will show you how to adjust the idle and how to balance both carbs. And I will also mount a new left exhaust, because the one that's currently on it is quite loud because it's rusted on the inside and a bit rattly. And because I have to get it ready for tech inspection that you have to do here every 2 years, I will have to adjust that. And I also noticed that I forgot to change the Kickstarter rubber. I will also do this in the next video. As I already told you, this has been my first ever YouTube video, and I already found some points to improve on for the next video, like the white balance or the audio or the shifting autofocus. So if you have any recommendations, tell me in the comments, and I'll see you next time.